I want to talk about power. Power is sometimes perceived. The people now in power, the only reason why they have power is because people think that these people are endowed with power. And the problem is that when people stop believing in these people's power, those people are no longer powerful. Meaning that if I perceive someone with power, as long as I have that perception, then that person or those persons have power. So I want to say that to say this. Um, the system that we have in place here in America and the different or various systems around the world, they only undergirded by people's belief in the systems that are set up and the people who are running said systems. So today, let's just say if you and I stop believing in the system, we stop believing in the people who are running the system, then that system or those people no longer have power anymore. And it's simply put, um, if you want to stop a lot of these people in their tracks, the so-called ruling class, all you have to do is stop listening to them and stop believing in them, and then the whole thing goes away. But as long as people believe that these people have power, they will have power. You have to stop believing. You don't need any weapons. You don't need any violent revolutions. Just stop listening and stop believing. Because oftentimes, what government does, such like the government we have here in America, what the government does is basically bluff a lot. It bluffs because it really doesn't have a lot of manpower. Government only represents, I say, 5 to 10% at max. Basically, have that. Well, put it this way: government only has is only 5 to 10% of the population at max, and because of that, it knows that it has to manipulate people. It has to bluff. It has to lie in order to stay in power. And people don't understand this. And I have come to this understanding years ago. Well, I had come to that understanding years ago, and I sit back and I watch how these people move. They say, "Yeah, we have a democracy. Uh, you have the ability to elect such and such. You have the ability to control the government and this and that." But really, in reality, once these people get into office, they do whatever they want to do. And it's because people don't call them out on it. You see? And they know that they can do whatever they want to do because they are backed up by people's belief in them. It's not that we fear Joe Biden. We fear the many people who believe in Joe Biden's authority, who are willing to lock us up, who are willing to kill us, who are willing to do the most nastiest and grievous things to us. It's not that people believed in, it's not that people feared Hitler and his funny mustache. It's just that people feared subconsciously and consciously the millions of people who believed in Hitler's authority. And because these people believed in Hitler's authority, they were readily or they were ready to kill and maim and do whatever they wanted to people. They were willing to do that because they believed in his authority. It's the belief. And this is why Hitler got away with so much of the atrocities that he committed. So when you are a victim of iniquity by governments around the world, it's because the thousands and millions of people who believed in that power were willing to commit atrocities or injustices against you or other people. That's the truth of the matter right there. And it's funny how they say you have the right to vote. I mean, you have the right to choose, but really you only have the right to vote. Your choices are not really there. Your choices are, if you have any, are very limited to a minimum. And that's why I always say over and over again, this game that they're playing, it's a game that they've been running like the mob. And it's just that you're a pawn of that game. Yep, you're a pawn of that game. You've been that for a long time. And I believe that slavery was a test run, although it was full of injustices, was a test run to see how much human beings can take when they're subjected to certain groups of people, mainly the elite class. There was no poor whites. There were no poor whites that owned slaves. They couldn't afford them. Only rich people, rich white people could afford slaves. So they were the ones responsible for that injustice and all that went on at that time. But also, it was somewhat black people's fault at that time for not willing to die to be free. Because a lot of times, if you just give up and become a slave, you stop fighting. You stop believing in your ability to free yourself. So just say if I were back then and they came to subject me to slavery, to servitude, I'd be willing to die for my freedom, fight until I couldn't fight anymore. Because it goes back to the old saying, give me liberty or give me death. I love that saying by Patrick Henry. Give me liberty or give me death. People breeze past that. They just breeze past that without taking the seriousness of that statement, without really taking that in. But the fact of the matter is, if one of us is subjected or subject to injustice, we all are. Because if the system hasn't made it to you yet, it will. You best believe. The situation I'm in with my son, millions of people have been in that situation. So that means that it's not done doing what it's doing. It will make it around to you. If it doesn't make it around to you, it will make it around to your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. At some point, your family will be subjected to that. I promise. So that's really what I wanted to say. I hope that you all took this in. There are lessons to be learned. But if you don't do anything and you see someone else being subjected or subject to injustice, you need to speak up and you need to do something. Just don't sit around and not care. Because of you not caring, or you having the attitude of not caring, you are the problem or part of it. All right? Mr. Johnson, I'm out.